do what you did then. Was it Pharma Pfizer?
Yeah.
And it became NIMET?
Yeah. Well, I think first is that I believe that the environment is becoming a lot more conducive for that. You know, we're beginning to get some really hard-hearted, audacious Nigerians who are going into big-time investments. I mean, the time we did the MBO in 1997, there weren't too many of such things. We didn't even know who to learn from. But now we have people who have been through that. The environment is better. Financing is easier than it was way back. And we're beginning to get some Nigerians lead, you know, in breaking the mold. We have always tended to think small, you know, limiting ourselves and maybe allowing the environment to limit us too.
Why is that so?
Well, it's just natural, you know, that people allow their environment to define them. But every once in a while, one or two people break the mold and create new ceiling. That's what I'm seeing. When you begin to look at the kind of investment, you know, some Nigerians are making, starting from what they have done in the telecoms, which was supposed to be a reserve for big-time international organizations. Nigerians have broken into telecoms. They have begun to break into cement manufacturing, sugar manufacturing, you know. They're going into power generation and IPPs. So you can see a move in that direction to be more audacious. And pretty young Nigerians are also beginning to learn the ropes. So the opportunities do exist. But today, what makes more sense is not even buying up companies. Because when you buy up companies, you buy assets and liabilities. It's ability to start your own dream, you know, and create your own business in line with current trends.
From the scratch?
From the scratch. For me, it is much better. You know, you can leverage on a company if you have the right resources. But, you know, it's like you want to buy here, then you have to start modeling it and shaping it. Well, if that's
funds will go down.
Yeah, if that is open to you. But it's easier if you had a dream, to build your dream. Because every day there are new developments, dynamics in new frontiers. And so reconstructing old things to make them new sometimes can be a big challenge, I can tell you that. So it's if I had a choice, I would advise people to build your own companies.
How about the headache of electricity?
Oh boy, well, that is like a chronic illness. Wow. And you know, chronic illnesses are better managed than acute. Acute illnesses, you just confront you don't know what to do. I think we've handled electricity for a long time, and even though we have had problem with seeing it increase the way we will deserve, we are aware the money is being spent, investment is being made, but government is being sensitive and sensible. When you confront a problem several times and it's not yielding, you look for another method. So I think in the power area, government has said this public sector investment in power has not yielded the desired result. Let's hand it over to private sector. And that's why you see the privatization from the generating plants to the distribution plants, distribution systems. Now they're even selling the independent power plants. They are handing over to the private sector and say, maybe you guys can manage this better. You know, maybe you can bring more investment. For me, that looks like the way out.
Who's the people have a problem with that? I mean, that idea of government cannot handle. They think the government is shying away from its responsibilities. I mean, for instance, we heard that, you know, before now, billions were pumped in between the year 1999 and to date, and there was nothing to be shown for it. The National Assembly decided to probe on it. Nothing came out of that as well. And it would seem that there is no resolve on any part to even get to the root of why this investment did not yield fruit.
You know, there is an Igbo proverb that says, if a child continues to pursue what killed his father, he might himself be killed by that. You saw it when the Lumelu Committee of the House went to probe power. What happened to them? They ended up being probed themselves. They almost went to prison. it depends on what you want to do. Should we keep looking back or look forward? If you look back and looking back is taking you further back, I think the sensible thing is to look forward. So if we could keep probing what happened to the millions and we spend and shout and yell and nothing comes, why don't you say, okay, Osita Adema, let's get better from today. Let's move forward. In a way, I think that's what Jonathan seems to be doing. You know, he's saying pursuing the past is good, but the attempts we've made in the past didn't lead us anywhere. We just went around in a circle. When President Yar'Adua became president, he stopped governance. He killed momentum of Obasanjo and started probing everything in order to restart, hopefully. And he didn't restart, so we lost 2 years before the president, Jonathan came, and then we began to start again. That is very costly, you know, stopping momentum of a moving vehicle, not talk of a moving economy. So that's where we must take the better option. It's not like we should forget, but if forgetting will help us move forward, that is what people are looking at now.
Let's look at another matter which will help us either in budgeting for made in Nigeria goods or even for starting up your own dream, considering electricity. And that happens to be the budget.
Yeah.
We know that, look, in our 19-year return to democracy, we've been having challenges with our budget, and we still do today. I mean, only recently we heard they're talking about the 2013 budgets the HAs is facing. And time and again, we hear about this unspent budgetary funds. And we don't know what happens to all of those. How do you think we can come out of all of this quagmire?
Well, I think the issue is, way to start first is to make sure that we get our budget approved early in the year. Because if you approve your budget middle of the year, end of first quarter, you're already late. And everything will fall late. So last year, government, both executive and the legislature, tried to get the budget approved before the end of the year. But of course, the approval had K-leg, because we didn't really get the approval until end of first quarter. You know, so we lost that advantage because of, you know, this continuous argument, who has the final say on appropriation. It's still an existing argument. And if you look at it, both sides have some merit in the argument. You can't make us to vet appropriation and what we are is a rubber stamp, just approve. If we cannot amend and recommend, then it serves no purpose. The other guy is saying, well, we know what we want to do. We know where it pinches. We know the direction, our strategy, and vision. But I think there's always a middle of the road point. In some of my writings, when this argument was going, and I say, look, what is the issue? Why Mr. President cannot call the leadership of the National Assembly? Call David Mark, call Tambuwal, and a few of the officers, and they sit, and they share their vision. The moment we have a common vision, a common understanding of where we're going, the matter becomes simple. The issue is when I'm acting as a silo, they're acting their own silo, and everybody comes with his own perspective. That creates argument and delays effort. So I think a better understanding between the legislature and executive, because they are arms of the same government. You know, every once in a while, you think they were opposition. A government is made up of 3 arms: legislative, executive, and judiciary. So they must work in harmony. It's like the Trinity. You know, the God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. If they were in conflict, me and you probably would be standing with our heads instead of standing on our feet. So that is what we recommend. Secondly, we also believe that, you know, there is always a trade-off. Government is interested in probity, whether we accept or not. They're against wastages of funds. So they believe that if at a particular time of the year, money has not been committed, then they just don't want to rush money into something just to make sure the budget is spent. Because that's the other argument. When there's accusation, the ministry is not releasing fund, this is not happening. The ministry says, Ministry of Finance, we want to release money, but this money must create value. You know, if we release first quarter budget or second quarter, we want to see the impact before release the third quarter. If you're supposed to make some returns, we need to see those returns. But people are